Welcome back to World of Warships Legends for another slightly above average ship review. Yes, we are back in Les Terrible. I know you're asking yourself, what is going on, self? I know I just saw a video yesterday called Les Sournois Terribles. Apologies for my seventh grade French. The sneaky version of Les Terrible, the Tier 6 French premium destroyer, widely considered one of the best destroyers in the game. We are here on the Atlantic. It is a domination match. Top tier, there is one Tier 5 on each team, and there are no aircraft carriers. So fertile ground for Les Terrible to do its business. So why is this playthrough different than the one you saw, hopefully, yesterday? Well, yesterday we were using Filippo Bueno in a concealment torpedo focused build. Today we are using Louis Violet, and it's more of a gunboat build. And this playthrough, I think, is really important if you are someone who admittedly are not familiar with French destroyers or are not that good of a destroyer player and you want to learn how to become better. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm only a slightly above average player, so I'm not going to teach you how to do anything better. I am going to show you how you can be an effective player without getting a bunch of kills. And we're going to do it in the gunboat version of Les Terrible. Quick note about our commander, Louis Violet. He is level 15, legendary level 3, inspired by Erich Bay for that 5.7% concealment boost. And Philip Vine, 3.8% shell dispersion on enemy shells towards your ship. Our skill selection, row 1, we chose Quick Fix, which reduces splash damage by 8%. Row 2, Go All Out, gives us a 20% concealment boost. When we are using the speed boost, it makes the speed boost reload 50% longer. Glass Cannon, which reduces our dispersion and increases our shell grouping in exchange for a reduction in hit points. And Sidestep, which increases shell dispersion and increases our gun range in exchange for a loss in rudder shift. To counteract that loss, in the modules, we're using Aiming System Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2 instead of the Propulsion Mod. And that's how we're offsetting that. And we're also using the Concealment Mod, as always. Our legendary skill for this commander is Unstoppable. This footage, recorded as we begin to capture Charlie, before the advent of the new spotting badge. That's why I don't see any spotting badges up on the screen. Before the advent of the new skill called Perceptive, I do think this is a commander that you would want to use Perceptive on. Okay? Gumbo build, it would give you a best approximation of twist and track for a nation line that does not have access to twist and track. So I do recommend that for this commander in the French destroyers. If you're doing a concealment torpedo build, I think personally that Torpedo Safari, the range boost, still more valuable because French destroyers traditionally don't have especially long range torpedoes, if I'm recalling correctly. So in this build, I think we saw it briefly. I've switched on the screen. Our guns have an 11.5-kilometer range. Our torpedoes have an 8-kilometer range. So you'd get a little more room in which to torpedo from stealth if you're using Torpedo Safari on a Bueno. And that's why I don't recommend Perceptive for a Bueno. But enough about a Bueno. We are torping at that Canonniere now. That's going to be a reoccurring theme throughout this match. We did capture Charlie. relatively unopposed, save some torpedoes that were shot into the area. That tells me there is presumably an enemy destroyer here. There are three destroyers. One of the other three destroyers is the Benham in the Bravo cap. I think they killed, well, our Benham died. Since the New Orleans is near that cap or in that cap as well. So we know there's a New Orleans. We know there's a Benham and Bravo. And here in a minute, I think we're going to see the other Tier 6 destroyer, other than the one that was torping at us, is also in Bravo. So I'm not really going to leave the Charlie area for the duration of this game. This is about as close as I'm going to get to shoot at the Benham to hinder his capturing time. There's the other destroyer, a Benson. And you can see those green capture flags are popping up. Keep an eye on those green capture flags throughout this match, kids. That's how we're going to get it done today. All right. So we do take some splash damage from that New Orleans. And we are turning tail and tactically retreating. I am going to fire one salvo at the Benson. You know, the other legendary skill for this commander, I can't remember the name of it. It's the one where it slightly increases your fire chance and slightly reduces the damage and also gives you a benefit of reducing your detectability after firing the main guns. Well, that works great for this commander because that's his base trait, and I'm pretty sure the skills stack. But as you can see, this is the third time our steering gears have been damaged. So without Unstoppable, we may have been steaming in a circle or unable to control the motion of our ship. And on a ship without a smokescreen like Lay Terrible, I really think you have to have Unstoppable. I know the community has differing opinions, most notably the Turtle Man on Reddit disagrees and runs the other legendary skill. I just don't think that's going to benefit you long term. All right, here's the third destroyer we didn't see before, other than him torping at us. The Akatsuki. We do shoot at him while we still can. We did get a torpedo strike on the Gunboat now, and we are briefly getting flooding damage. I'm going to continue to shoot torpedoes and shoot at the Gunboat now, hoping to set a fire because the Akatsuki has dropped spot. So essentially what we're doing here is like the title of the video says, we are defending the Charlie cap. We captured Charlie, and now we are defending Charlie. And for some reason, the enemy team ships are inexorably drawn towards Charlie. All right, we set a fire on the Gunboat now. The Akatsuki comes back up, and we are going to resume shooting at him. Akatsuki, in my mind, the most dangerous ship on the map. Not that the other ships aren't equally as dangerous, but the Akatsuki is the best concealment. In theory, that's why I consider it the most dangerous destroyer here. All right, so the Akatsuki, I can't shoot at him. There's an island in the way. The Gneisenau's take each other out. The Leon says defend Cap C. What do you think I've been doing, guy? All right, we get spotted by the Akatsuki, and the King George takes him out. So I'm going to turn my attention here to the Duke of York. And I sent 6 of our torpedoes at the Duke of York, and I'm going to shoot at him as well and then turn away. Thankfully, we've been relatively unmolested from the ships that are inhabiting Bravo, and for some reason, unbeknownst to me, they have never left Bravo. I don't understand why, but I'm not going to complain. They're happy holding on to Bravo. I'm happy holding on to Charlie. All right, so our torpedoes are making their way towards the Duke of York. We do get a torpedo strike and another defended flag. That brings us up to 10 defended flags. And then we're going to line our guns up and take some pot shots at the Duke of York. And as you can see, we are going to be rewarded for our efforts with 1, 2, 3 more defended flags. All right, and we are spotted because our concealment is way up from shooting. Presumably one of those destroyers in the Bravo cap has spotted us. We're looking at the North Carolina. We're looking at the Duke of York. We're going to shoot one rack of torpedoes at the Duke of York. He's pretty low health. So I decide, hey, maybe I can swing for a double strike here. And so after I get my turn on and make sure the enemy destroyer isn't there, I am going to shoot the remaining 6 torpedoes at the Duke of York, or I'm sorry, at the North Carolina. And I'm going to engage the Duke of York with my guns as we duck behind the island. 3 more defended flags. Second rack of torpedoes is out on the North Carolina, and we are finally engaged by the Benson. Now, here I'll admit I do not make great plays here. Um, we got plenty of health. I am concentrating on the Duke of York simply because his proximity to my ship. I'm looking down and seeing I get a torpedo reload in under 20 seconds. We do get some torpedo strikes on the North Carolina. So essentially, I'm willing to take a little bit of damage, both from the Duke of York and from the Benson, in order to wait for this torpedo reload. I get the torpedo reload, I launch the torpedoes, and down goes the Duke of York. That is our first kill of the game. Now, here, I should have turned to the port and engaged that North Carolina with my torpedoes. Instead, I foolishly turned back towards the Benson. I should not have done this. And in hindsight, it's very easy to see. I had active torpedoes on the other side of my ship. On this side, I have to turn to line up my guns. I have to expose even more broadside to launch torpedoes, and the Benson takes me out. I'm going to fast forward to the end of the match. So I talked about being effective without getting a lot of kills. As you saw, we only had 1 kill, but we had over 7,500 ship XP, over 7,500 commander XP, and over 700,000 silver. And that's because of the 16 defended flags there on the screen. So we'll go to the scoreboard eventually, and you will see what this got us. 2,831 base XP, top of the board. Like, subscribe, comment below.